Local event is helping raise awareness about the risk of kidney disease as the month of March is National Kidney Month.
A lot of people don't know that they have kidney disease until they're actually in later stages, so it's kind of a silent disease. 33% of people are at risk, and most of them don't even know it.
The walk kicked off at Westport Plaza this afternoon in an effort to raise money and raise awareness about the impact of kidney disease. Here's a raw reality. Listen to this. Organizers say the number of people waiting for kidney transplants could fill Busch Stadium twice. We spoke to one participant looking for a kidney donation. She wants people to know what donating a kidney can do for someone like her in need.
There are lots of people who have two healthy kidneys, but human being only needs one to have a long, healthy, and productive life. So by giving a kidney donor, you can help somebody else to survive.
This year's event raised more than $83,000 so far, according to the Kidney Walk St. Louis. The money goes to help participants and support kidney disease research. First Alert